Hey, good morning. So this I was just journaling. I don't know, it feels fun to see what comes up while I'm journaling and see if I want to noodle on it a bit more, but I was thinking about the stupid brain. The brain really is you know how it thinks it's so smart? I mean, we talk about this all the time. So it just thinks it's so smart and it knows everything. You know, the mind is predictive. And so, you know how I love arts, crafts, making things, I feel it's so fundamental to what inspires or drives humans is to build, to make things, right? To make something out of nothing, oh, yes. I don't know what it is. It's like that creator energy in us. It just has to make. Well, so I felt this a lot in my life where I'm inspired to make something, paint something, do a collage, whatever, build anything, even doing woodworking, whatever. Creating a poem. Oh my God, I felt this so much while writing, where the blank page, and then it totally shuts down the creative impulse sometimes, the expectation that it has to become something. Not even that it has to look a certain way. Yeah, that happens. That shuts me down sometimes. That it has to be a good poem, that it has to be a good painting, that it has to be something other people like, you know. So something, it's it almost happens as soon as the creative impulse arises, the mind goes squash, And maybe it's just me, but I don't think it is. I've heard this a lot. So I was thinking about it with pretty much anything, not just the building something, but something I've always wanted to learn how to do. So yesterday I had the whole day. I had a client and then I had the whole day free to work on my bicycle. And it's something that I had been wanting to do because I'm I want to ride my bike again. It's been hanging in the garage for I don't know how many years, untouched, nothing for years. And I love riding a bike. I have a stationary bike, but I want to go outside. So I'm I'm going to learn how. So I started watching YouTube videos. There's this awesome guy, Bike Farmer. Bike Farmer is his YouTube name. So funny. Anyway, he posts his videos, bike tune-up videos for beginners. Oh, he's so good. So I sent a couple of those to my husband too, because I'm oh, I bet he wants to tune up his bike. So we go get all the supplies, tubes, lubes, all the things. Actually, my husband did it. I didn't. He just came home one day after I told him I wanted to do it, and he had the tubes. I'm oh, thanks. So yesterday, we had the whole day to do that with the tools, with the supplies. And I'm yes. So, and I've been into mountain biking. That's part of my history of adventures. Is when I lived in California, and then when I moved to Colorado as well, I was huge into mountain biking. Had a killer mountain bike. For me, it was almost $3,000. It was no joke. Now, the group I was riding, I got into a group of riders. They were riding 10 grand mountain bikes and above. So I just felt like a little baby. But that's a legit bike. I'm not gonna deny that. I loved my bike so much. Yet, I never knew how to properly care for it. I just wanted to ride at the time. I was just in it, the clip-in shoes. I have so many scars from riding downhill, down the mountain, up the mountain, falling on the mountain, skidding down the mountain on my elbows. Like, because I lived at the foothills of the Santa Monica Mountains, basically. So I was like, every morning I would get on my bicycle when I lived in Santa Monica and ride from my house, my apartment. Well, who are you kidding? You can't buy a house in LA. I did once, but it was ridiculous. Anyway, that's a different story. And from my apartment up, straight up into the mountains. Rode with my group of people a lot of days, or by myself a lot of days. And then went, oh man, overlooking basically all of LA. You get up way up there. Oh, it was breathtaking. It really did take your breath because the air pollution in LA is terrible. Just kidding, it's better now. But then you ride down oh my God, every morning before work. It's the best. I just remember being just like so blissed out. Didn't I use that word yesterday? Well, I was blissed out just in that. So, but I never knew, even when I remember one time having a killer crash. And this is the group I rode with. One day I was just riding my bike by myself and I stopped to take a breather, take a drink or something, and these guys, this group of like 3 or 4 guys, maybe more, it might have been more because they were a pretty big group, but they didn't all ride together on every day, rode by me and stopped and said, do you need anything? Because that's how the culture is, making sure everybody's good. And it's like, no thanks. And then they're like, you want to ride with us? I was like, sure. So I became like part of their group. It was wild. So then all the time I was riding with them and they taught me so much. And so I think it's kind of like that feeling of they took me under their wing, as a newbie mountain biker. But I was doing pretty good on my own, but they really helped me step up because we were riding single track, this is legit mountain biking, not just I'm going for a stroll. And so, these guys would go to Moab and like ride the side of cliffs where you've seen those like GoPro first person views where they're like on the side of a cliff. Like one step they're off, they're dead. These people are insane. I wouldn't do that. I need a lot of space on each side of my single track. So we're doing switchbacks, all the way up the mountain. So it's like technical riding. And then one day they took me and they're like, okay, you get in the middle of us. Like, not out front, not in the back. You're going to be in the middle in case anything happens. I'm like, okay. So, and we'd been riding together a while now. So they knew my lack of skills. So we're going. At some point we start coming down the mountain, and it's a path I hadn't really been before, and it was over a lot of like bouldery. We were off the single track. It was like boulders and like we were off the trail, and all of a sudden I hit something and just went flying and like skidding on all my body parts just down these boulders, and my bike went flying. I ended up okay, a little bloody, some scars ended up from that, no biggie. I was no stranger to scars by then. Like coming home on my bike, bloody knees and stuff, that was common. And then patch myself up and go to my consulting job, put on my high heels. And so I was like, I was fine. They were making sure I was okay. Always wear a helmet. And then my bike, the derailleur, like was wrapped around, like it was fucked up. And I was like, oh no, we are so far from home. Like, how do I fix my bike? I don't know how. And I had been wanting to learn prior to that. but I just never took the time because anytime I had my hands on my bike, I was riding. I did not take care of it. I didn't know how. And so I've always wanted to figure out how to take it apart and put it back together properly, how to freaking change my own tires, I didn't know anything. I had learned how to patch, if I needed to. Never had to. And so I never really had the hands on. So anyway, that just paints a picture of like how much I love biking and how little I know about bikes. So yesterday, with the whole day free, I was like, yeah, let's do this. I had watched Bike Farmer's videos, so I kind of had an idea how to do a basic tune-up. And we did it. We both worked on our bikes. And so So I cleaned the whole thing. Like, I sat there meticulously, and not like in a manic sort of like way, but I put on like some good music. I was just like, yeah, man, cleaning my bike. I had never even done that. And my old bike was fucking dirty, man. Crashing, muddy. Oh man, some of my favorite rides were in the rain. Freaking downhill in like intense rain, mud. Nope, never washed it. And that was like an expensive bike I just tore the shit out of. Oh, I loved it so much. Anyway, I really missed that thing. I wonder who has it now. It was one of those things that when I left Denver on a whim and left all my belongings behind, that was one of my belongings. I'm pretty sure one of my good friends at the time got it. I hope it's had a good life. So anyway, cleaning, taking the wheels off. They're quick release, but still taking the wheels off, taking the back tire off with the chain, cleaning everything, changing my tubes out, and then reattaching the back tire with the chain. I had never even done that to my remembering. I don't think I had. And then putting it on right. And then, oiling, detaching my little brake lines and like gear lines, lubing them, getting them nice and what Bike Farmer would call snappy brakes. And then comes the time to like, okay, I'm polishing it all, getting all that lube off of there. And I was like, okay, moment of truth. Did I put it all back together? And I took it for a little ride, and yeah, I did. It went back together. My brakes are rubbing a little. I gotta align something there. But because I have my bum wrist right now, I'm not gonna ride, so I just hung it back up. But next thing I'll be trying to figure out how to tweak my brakes to be just right. Isn't that fun? So anyway, I know this is a boring video, but like it made me think about how when I was in it, and I've felt this before, and I just don't know if I've ever talked about it, like this, the way the mind works. And like so many times I would have wanted to ride my bike and been like, yeah, it's like, I don't know how it's been in the garage for so many years, so dirty, so like flat tires. I just don't know how to get it from that to rideable, even though I've always wanted to take time to do the thing. There was like the mind was just like, no, I just want to get there. And then, but every time I sit down to immerse myself in a project, it's beautiful. It's like the journey of doing it is the thing, with no expectation of where it's leading or where I'll end up or what it's going to look like or feel like. I loved sitting down with a rag, a dirty ass rag, cleaning my bike, cleaning every spoke, cleaning every nook and cranny and being like, oh yeah, that's how that connects, by like really zooming in to every little detail and going, oh, that's how that attaches to that. Oh my God, of course, And that was the joy of it, was the discovery of what I would find along the cleaning. Like, you could think of cleaning as just being so freaking boring. It was awesome. And then to see how clean it was getting and to be like, oh my God, no wonder bikes get all clogged up and junky and then I thought, man, it'd be fun to just clean a bunch of bikes. So it's so weird. And that happens to me all the time, even in creative projects, like I was saying with the poetry. As soon as the creative impulse arises, the mind, like that critic, goes, nope. And nope takes many forms, It's not just nope, but something has a no quality to it of like, nah, yeah. And then, so I was like sitting here this morning thinking, like, what else would I want to do, learn? What have I always wanted to learn that I've never taken time to like really sit down and just immerse myself in the learning process? Because there was a moment where my husband's like hovering over me yesterday. Oh, don't you hate that? A hoverer? Because he had already done his like the day before because he had time. And so he'd already gone through his, because I shared the videos with him and then he took it and ran and I still had yet to do my maintenance. So he had already gone through this. And so he was hovering, watching me. And I'm like, oh man, like he's just like waiting to like tell me how to do something, but he knows me. And I'm like fumbling with something. Like the learning process is very fumbly. So I'm like trying to figure something out. And he's like, I could sense his like, and so I'm just like, can you just not? Can you just not? I said, I'm treating this as a learning process. I appreciate that, but I am treating this as a learning process. I want to fumble through it myself. He's like, oh, okay. And then he kind of went, figuratively, shut up. So, and then finally, at one point, I did ask him a question, and he was all like, yeah. So, but there's like, I want to fumble through something. And anytime I write a poem, if I go to sit down and write it, there's the feeling of nope that kind of, I feel like it's a protective measure or something of the like, oh no, honey, I don't want you to have to fumble. No. It's okay. Just don't even start. That's the mind. That's the feeling or the energy behind the nope. Sometimes it's just like, I feel like it's a protective, oh no, don't do hard things. It's okay. Go watch Netflix. But I love when I really get into the writing process. I love the fumbling for the right word. I wrote a poem last week and it was like, when I reread it, I spent like 5 minutes fumbling between the words in or at. It feel like it made all the difference for this whole poem. And that's poetry for you. Like, I was vacillating, like, okay, what would it feel like to use the word on right here? And then what would it feel like to use the word at right here? And then I got into like these huge differences in the meanings, the crux of the meaning, like it was like the keystone of the whole poem. And then I just stayed with my original choice. But that's what I mean, like that fumbling with one little thing took me on a whole exploratory, like, epiphany style journey of like, wow, this one little word changes everything, even though I decided to keep it the same. So, but that's like with everything. I listen to other like artists talk about like they're standing back from their painting with a paintbrush and they're like, boop, okay, done, you know. It's like that's the feeling that I feel like when we go to create something, that's what we really want to experience. And the mind, if we let it go, nope. It's almost like we have, and you know this, and I know this. This isn't anything new for me either. But I was like, to just shut down that mind, trying to shut down the real us, you know, like that real inspired impulse. The mind just comes in and says, nope, 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 nope. And your nope might sound like something else, like, oh, it's not worth it, or it's not going to be as good as you want it to be, so why start? You know, it takes many forms, you know, and my nope sounds like that too. And so it's like, how do we just get out in front of the nope and be like, fuck off? Just fucking fuck off. I think I'll end with that.